Well, welcome once again to the webinar today. I'd like to introduce Eric Freeman. Eric is the sales manager for Lattice Technology and is in Denver, Colorado. The topic for today is streamlining the design review. And really, this topic applies to any time you want to collaborate with other stakeholders in your organization. So not just design reviews, but really any kind of collaboration. And what we'll show you today is why XVL is uniquely suited to doing that. So during the webinar, if you have any questions, please put those into the questions chat box, and we will address those at the end of the webinar. We'll keep things to 30 minutes today, and would really like to thank you for joining, and at this time, hand it over to Eric Freeman. Eric?
Yep. Hi. Hopefully everybody can hear me. So today I kind of thought we'd start with a new kind of series on what we call the power of XVL, which is essentially 5 main topics that we'll be covering over the next 5 or so webinars. But really, it starts with the main, frustrating question I get every time I approach, a new business about working with us, and it's, they ask me, well, we already have a tool for doing that. Why would I use your tool? And so we really want to cover that, and kind of not to kick a dead horse, as they say, but to really kind of make sure that everyone understands really what the power of XVL is and why essentially that we think it's a worthwhile product and to worth the weight in gold, really, in the end. So this first topic will be design review. So every topic that we talk about really comes down to one thing, and that's large data handling. That's our bread and butter customers. That's our really true differentiator, if you will, as a product. We are able to take a full 3D CAD model and move that big 20 gigabyte file, in this case, down to about 250 megabytes, or about 1% its original size, which is can't hit this enough, but it is so important that that file size is reduced for performance, for ease of use. When you're working with large data, it becomes a very big problem when you have a machine that just can't handle it. You can't use all the tools you want to be able to use. CAD is a great, a revolutionary product, if you will. 3D CAD has changed the way people design products, but with that came a lot of headaches, and came the abilities to do all these things like analysis, testing, all in a virtual world. But how realistic is it that your designers are going to be using these tools when they take an hour to open up and an hour to close, that sort of thing. So it becomes a much bigger problem than we actually realize. So I kind of wanted to can't stress that enough. So another thing that really XVL is all about is this ability to handle multiple bills of materials. So in one XVL file, you can have all of your animation, you can do a design review, you can have do some process planning, create some work instructions, even go as far as creating a parts catalog, and any kind of technical document, really, and have BOMs related for each of these types of output, all wrapped within one XVL file. So that's the other really big, differentiator that XVL does. Really, no other product I know of is capable of doing this sort of thing. So, how does it apply to design review? Well, it not only applies to design review, but it also applies to these 5 main topics that we're going to be covering in the next few weeks. So, the first being design review. We'll be getting into process planning, serviceability check, work instructions, and service documents. But today we're focusing on this first one. So how do we review a full vehicle with XVL? How do we create cross sections? How do we use those results to better our workflows? And how do we report back to the design team when we find issues? So we'll kind of cover that here in the next few slides. So the first thing I want to kind of show you is a potential use of XVL right away. So this happens to be a full 3D model. Sorry, I'm going to go back here. Slide. There we go. This happens to be a full 3D model that is basically available to you right within PowerPoint. So this XVL file is embedded right here. A lot of times we conduct our design reviews in PowerPoint. So this is one potential application that you could be using XVL right away for. This is a simple, XVL file saved right within the PowerPoint environment. I can press play here. It'll go through the sequence of animation, showing you how it's going to be, assembled. But this is really a common in many places that I work with. A common tool is used for design review today is PowerPoint. So this is one potential use case for XVL right within PowerPoint. So one thing to talk about. And of course, XVL does work with all of these different products you see here. Everything from Siemens to So, PTC and Autodesk. That means CATIA, Creo. We've got SolidWorks. We've got NX. We've got basically any major MCAD platform is going to be available to you natively within our XVL Studio environment. So it's a really powerful way of working. Moving on. Let's see here. One thing I thought I'd talk about is how widespread the XVL usage can get. So today we'll be talking about design review, and Toyota, for example, is a big user of this product for design review. That's actually one of the main reasons we were successful in landing the business from Toyota, is that we were able to open a full vehicle right within the XVL environment in a matter of minutes compared to what took hours in a CAD platform. So design review was the first use case that really kind of drove XVL usage within Toyota. But as you can see today, Toyota is using it extensively. So we're seeing it in concept design review, detailed design review, but all of these other areas of the business Toyota is doing today has a XVL usage going on. Now that's in every of their locations across the board. So this is a very well-used product, and we think that it's a great example of how powerful the XVL file format can be, and design reviews where they started. So why did that come about? Well, as you can imagine, a full vehicle, as you see here on the screen, is a lot of parts. We're talking on average anywhere between 6,000 to 12,000 parts in a full vehicle assembly. As you can imagine, displaying that within a CAD environment is not the easiest thing to do. Now, especially when we were talking about 5 to 10 years ago, a regular 32-bit laptop wasn't going to be displaying this kind of full model. And if it was going to take a long time to load, and you're going to have probably some decent luck getting that open without having it crash. So as you can see here, this is a full vehicle. These are screenshots loaded from XVL, but you can see that all the parts are represented. You can see everything that's in its place, and it's a really accurate model. So when Toyota started looking at that, how do we incorporate design review with this XVL product? They noticed that they can open the models that much faster, which is a huge benefit. But they can also start working with those models using our advanced tools like advanced interference detection, both in static and dynamic interference checking. So you can check for the lineup of holes, make sure that your design is actually valid. And when doing that in XVL, you're able to do that much faster. So this is where that file size really kind of applies to everything. That file reduction of 1% of the original model size, yet keeping that accuracy allows you to run tests like these much more easier. Actually, your engineers are much more prone to do them when they know that it won't take all day and it won't be as difficult as they imagine. So it also allows you to do dynamic cross sections in 2D, which is great for seeing your interference checking. All of these different applications you see on the screen are all something that are available to you within the design review space in XVL. So we'll kind of review at the end here and talk about what products we're talking about here and what products are needed for these certain tasks, but I kind of want to just be the high-level overview right now. So how does design review work at Toyota? Well, Toyota implemented this system using the automatic interference check. They use the Toyota way, which is anybody that can notice an issue can raise their hand and stop production or bring up an issue. That's a very well-known fact about Toyota, and I think that this is a great example of how Toyota is an innovative company and how we can use this design review feature and different tools for increases in productivity as well as better final output. So you'll see here that they're able to go two ways with this. They're exporting the models to XVL or converting them, doing a design review, discussing, and then reporting back to the design team as to what modifications they suggest and going that route. This is still faster than working with a straight CATIA model or something of that nature. The interference check results are very useful, and they show a visual output, so that's something they can report back with a cross section or screenshot, and you can also do a interference check report with our tools. So all of these things really had a pretty big effect on the way that Toyota conducted their design review. So the big benefits for them were they could open that full model, they can do cross sections, run their interference checks, check back, report with a report very easily. But the real world benefits were pretty huge. I mean, the time required for design review was reduced by 1/3 initially when they implemented this. And the indirect effect was that they were able to find more issues earlier on in their process. And this is what we call front loading. And I'll talk about that here in a second and show a little bit more detail as to why we think that's an important goal for most organizations to kind of get towards, is to front load these issues that are detected. Another way that they've applied this technology is for the purpose of doing ergonomic or easeability of assembly using a human model. This is another form of design review. Is your design valid? Is it something that can be worked on in the future? So this human model is another advanced sort of feature that is being enabled at Toyota as well. And you can make sure that tools fit as well. You can do a lot with our tools to really kind of validate your designs. And so, kind of in summary, I wanted to talk about how this has played out in most of our customers. So, in design, production, engineering, and also any ways involved in production, really, we see the following benefits. So, before we had this antiquated process where we're just using CAD, hopefully opening up the whole model, but in many cases not being able to do so in any kind of efficient manner. So you were unable to display those large full models and really do a sufficient design review, and one that would be useful or at least feel confident in those results. So we're in this process, a design or product lifecycle timeline here. We had to wait till the release of the drawing to even start doing these reviews, because there's so many different people working on the design, so many different engineers involved, that it didn't make any sense to start working on or reviewing the design before they had some sort of release, because no one knew where everything was. Now that led to what we call this downstream loading of the issues being detected, which is, as everyone reasonably knows, is a much more expensive place to be fixing problems. When you have you're already in your prototyping phase, you already have a lot of money invested in a model, and you're finding issues at that point. It's really an expensive way of working and getting things done. So after installation, you're able to open those 3D models much earlier. You're able to start working on things like interference detection much earlier, and this is what we call front loading. So front loading those issues saves a lot of money, and every company is different, but if you can reduce the number of prototypes, the number of times that designs are sent back for a change, you're going to be saving millions, if not more, and we see that across the board. So the ROI of this is obviously the quality is improved of your models. The cutback in recovery costs is generally fairly large, and we're able to lower the costs required from CAD vendors because of the reduced need for CAD. You're able to use these tools instead of CAD tools for your design review and other functions of your business. So let's review sort of what we're talking about when we talk about design review products. So first, for all these features you see here: measurement, sectioning, annotation. They're all XVL Studio or Lattice 3D Reporter, and that annotation view option is one of the options you could add to our product. Another area may be design validation. You can use XVL Studio Pro with a dynamic interference check option to be able to really get those results that you might want for these dynamic interference checks. Which means like moving parts assembly, how much kind of interference we're dealing with there. A very powerful tool and available in XVL Studio Pro, as well as difference check option, which is another option available to you with Studio. This is great for when you import models. You want to check the actual differences in not only the geometry but the data itself. So it'll give you a report displaying the differences both in text form as well as a 3D sort of view that shows you the green being a similarity, or yellow being similarities, the green being a difference in the model, and a red being a difference in the model. So you're able to visualize all the differences before you move on with your work. So it's also another very powerful tool that we offer. And for any of these products, if you have any interest in learning more about them, obviously we'd be happy to set up a demonstration for you. Just get in touch. And that's really all I had for you today. It's a shorter demo. I hope everybody has a great 4th of July weekend. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put them up into the panel there. Just a couple of wrap-up things is if anybody's going to submit a question. As Eric showed you, XVL is really uniquely suited for design review and in any kind of collaboration where you need to engage stakeholders from different parts of your organization. Something else that's very unique about XVL as well is it's simple for authoring to be added, authoring information to the model. So for different uses like in manufacturing, in creating manufacturing work instructions and that, it's much simpler to use than CAD. So a novice kind of person who has no experience with CAD can author additional information in right with the model. As we're wrapping up here, and one last thing is all of the sharing with the model data out of XVL with the associated information is with free viewers and collaboration applications. So for instance, we have a player that's free. There is a free download for a plugin for Microsoft Excel, and there's web-based options as well. So all that's free for the people you want to share with. So we're going to wrap up here. If you would just stay on for another minute, a 3-question poll will come up as soon as we close the webinar. And all of you will be receiving a link to this recording so you can review it and share it with other people in your organization. And we'll also include that ebook by Lifecycle Insights in case you didn't get that when you registered. Lifecycle Insights wrote a nice ebook about design review, things to think about for your organization if you don't have a formal process already. So with that, thanks a lot, and wish everybody a happy holiday weekend.